אשת חיל ממצא, ורחוק מפנינים מכרה, בטח ולבלה, ושאלה לא יחסר. גמלתהו טוב ולא רע כל ימי חייה. כפה פרצה לעוני, וידיה שילחה לאביון. אז וידר לבושה, ותשחק ליום אחרון. פיה פותחה בחוכמה, ותורת חסד הלשונה. צופי הליכות ביתה ולחם עצלות לא תאכל. קמו בניה וישרוה, בעלה ויהללה. רבות בנות עשו חיל, ואת עלית על כולנה. שקר החם והבל היופי, אישה יראת אדוני תתהלל. תנו לה מפרי ידיה, והללוה, בשערים מעשיה. Selected verses from the book of Proverbs, chapter 31st. What a precious find is an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand. Whatever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. So we are gathered here this afternoon, sadly to say goodbye to Cynthia Brick of blessed memory. Sima Baila bat Shmuel veZelda, Zichrona Libracha. The daughter Samuel and Zelda Dreeman of blessed memory, the wife of the late Fred Brick of blessed memory, the sister of Sharon Ganetsky, the mother of Marcia Brick, Ira and Susan Brick, Robert and Krista Brick, Lisa Brick, and Stuart and Cheryl Brick, the grandmother, Jonathan, Paula, Aliyah, Zoe, Daniel, Gavin, Aidan, and also Sarah of blessed memory. Cynthia passed away on July 13th, peacefully, surrounded by family, after a short illness at the age of 78. There are many texts, many different texts we sometimes use to start a Jewish funeral. Sometimes we use Psalm 23, Sometimes it's Psalm 21, sometimes it's Psalm 121. But today, I believe the words I used, those from Proverbs 31, are especially adequate to honor Cynthia Brick, a woman who excelled at home and in business. This text is known in the Jewish tradition by its first Hebrew words, Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. And there is a widespread custom of singing this Eshet Chayil on Friday nights at home before we bless the wine with the Kiddush as a song of praise to the woman of the house. So today, we are singing it once again to say goodbye to a true Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor, who set the tone of love, spirituality, and personal growth for all those around her. One of the great stories in the Bible is the one where Joshua and the people of Israel were in the middle of a great battle. Moses was on a hill holding up the rod in the air. As long as Moses had his hands in the air, Joshua and the people of Israel would win. But when he got tired and put his hands down, the enemy will start winning. Moses realized what was happening, and he got a couple of men to help him keep his hand in the air. But my point is, Joshua is down there winning the battle, but he doesn't realize the only reason he is winning the battle is because Moses is on the hill holding up his hands. Without Moses doing his part, Joshua and the people of Israel would have been defeated. Cynthia Brick played a fundamental role in building and sustaining not just a successful business, but also a wonderful family. She achieved that by living her life holding up her hands, just like Moses did, so her family could have better chances in life. In a few minutes, we are going to hear some memories about Cynthia from her children and grandchildren. During a Jewish funeral, we have lots of rituals and prayers, but the most important part is, no doubt, the eulogy. This has biblical roots, as we see in the Bible that our father Abraham eulogized Sarah, his wife. The word eulogy means a good word. Giving a eulogy is a way to honor Cynthia's life. It also is a way to provide comfort to those who are heartbroken. The eulogy expresses sorrow for the loss, yet celebrates and finds meaning in Cynthia's life. I would like to invite first to Cynthia's grandchildren to come forward to eulogize the grandmother.
I guess I'll start. Thank you. I had a few things that I wanted to say about my grandmother that I kind of rehearsed in my head. And I'm actually going to deviate from that, and I'm just going to tell a story that I can tell now because I couldn't really say it when she was alive. And you actually inspired me to say this story because you said, tell some good stories. And she was a wonderful woman, that goes without saying. But just to honor her memory, I remember a few years ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago, we had a family dinner, and it was at the Bricks on Furniture upstairs, and we were a little bit early, and my uncle had done something to drive me crazy. I can't remember what it was, but I remember this family dinner, I was going to get revenge. And so I brought this little plastic pellet gun, and I started shooting him with this pellet gun. And he didn't expect it, and he's just, he's ducking and he's dodging, and we're shooting in this, beautiful, expensive furniture store. And family doesn't realize it, and he finally gets close enough to me and tackles me and ends up smashing me through a glass table in the furniture store. So I was fine. He was okay, surprisingly. We, for some reason, have a history of going through glass at family functions. But I remember we both looked at each other in horror. It's like a $5,000 table or something. He kind of looked at me, and I looked at him like, what are we going to do? So we found a broom, swept it up, and kind of acted like nothing happened. We went to the family dinner and didn't speak a word of it to anybody. Just acted like nothing happened and kind of had this little laugh between us. So now that she's no longer here, I can tell the story because she would have been furious with both of us. But if she was here right now, I'm sure she would be sharing a laugh with you. And that's just kind of who my grandmother was. She was somebody who kind of tied everyone together. We have a crazy family like every other family who loved each other. And she was really a pillar of strength that truly just helped us all take better care of each other. So, I love you, Baba. I miss you very much. And
Hi, everyone. So I just want to make a little story of how she was very supportive of what I wanted to do. I just came back from a really big trip of mine, just traveling around, and my mom, love you, was very against it in the beginning. She didn't want me to go. And my Baba was like, no, let her go. Let her go see the world. And I just want to say that she was very supportive of whatever I wanted to really do. And I very much miss her and hope I can live up to her hopes and dreams with me. So thank you.
Okay, hi. So me and Baba were really close. We spent lots and lots of time together, which our whole family did. We had family dinners constantly. And they were kind of irritating when she was around, but now I treasure every dinner crazy. Are you trying to talk? Okay. It's okay. For me, Baba was some of the most important people in my life. She was the person that if I needed anything, I would go to. Baba and I would go out for lunch every 2 weeks just to catch up and see each other. Sometimes we would go out, but some of the best times were us making waffles at our condo. Even being 16, Baba still tried to measure out the ingredients for me until she realized I did actually know how to cook. She had this crazy look of pride seeing me growing up and being independent. That look is something I will never forget. And although Baba was often proud of me, I was most proud to be her granddaughter. Something Baba would always say to me is that you can do anything you want, the impossible will just take a bit longer. At first I thought she was over-exaggerating and being a bit ridiculous, but she proved to me time and time again how she could do anything. She taught me how to be strong when in good times and in bad, and how to always have a positive outlook on life, no matter what. Even though she is not here to remind me of these things every day, nothing can take away what she has taught me. I will always love you, and I'll always miss you, Baba. Do you want to say anything?
Thank you for sharing those memories with us. Now I would like to invite Cynthia's children to come forward to eulogize their mother.
Okay, I'm Marsha. I'm the oldest of Cynthia's 5 children. She could have stopped with me, but she didn't, so I'm going to tell you a couple stories about my mother. She gave me many stories over the years. Being the oldest, I heard a lot of stories about her past when she was growing up. And there's one story in particular that caught my attention. When she was a teenager, her and her friends liked to go out to the beach, but they weren't supposed to take their cars out to the beach. So one time my mother took her mother's car out to the beach, and when she came back, she had to get rid of the mileage. So she drove around the block backwards for numerous occasions to get rid of the mileage. After that incident, she realized there's got to be a better solution. And her idea was to learn how to unhook the odometer so the mileage wouldn't come on the car. So she would do that for her cars as well as her friends' cars when they would go to the beach. So my mother was a little bit of a mechanic at an early age. But one of the most important things my mother ever did for me was indirectly save my life. When I was 17 years old, I had to go for gallbladder surgery. It was very bad. I was 16 when I got the problem, and no one believed that I needed surgery, and we had to fight for a year to get it. So by the time I finally had my surgery, my gallbladder had actually exploded. So they had to keep me under anesthesia much longer than normal. So when I came out, I didn't wake up for a long time. The visiting hours ended, and they wanted to send my mother home. And my mother said, "No, I'm not leaving." And there's no, we want you to leave. So she called the doctor, got what's known as a red pass, which meant I could die any minute. And so she was able to stay with me. Middle of the night, I start throwing up, but I'm still under the anesthesia. And if she hadn't been there, no one would have known, and I would have choked. So she definitely saved my life that time. But the most important thing that's happened with my mother and me is the last 12 years I've been working with her in the store. In the beginning, it was a little tough. She had her way, I had my way. We had to learn to work together. And it was her way. You know, she didn't like to do change, but over time we learned to work together and do some changes, and we actually became a very good working team. She would go speak with the customers, see what their needs were, and I would go listen to what they were saying, and then I would find the materials that she needed to show the customers of what they would want. So it was like a 1-2 punch. And the last 6 months, she kept on telling me how proud she was of me and how much I made her job easy, and now I have the job for both of us, and it's not going to be easy. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Ira, other son. So I want to talk about my mom. I'm going to say one word, that is love. My mom lived that word. It was a defining part of who she was, and it guided her actions continuously through her love. Love was the reason that gave her so much endurance and perseverance. One of the people that she really loved dearly was my Baba Ida, my father Fred's mother. Mom met Baba Ida when she was dating my dad, and a close bond developed between them. Baba Ida became like a second mother to my mom. And when mom and dad married, the relationship between mom and Baba Ida strengthened. Sadly, a few years after they married, Baba Ida's health deteriorated, and my mom told me the story of how on Baba Ida's deathbed, she asked my mom if she would please take my care of her husband, that is my Zeta Philip. And Mom promised that she would. So think a little bit about what she promised. She was so young. At that time, my dad and her were desperately poor, with no obvious way to getting out of that state. Mom had her hands full with a toddler and myself on the way. Not to mention, we had the smallest house in the street, and there was not very much room. But my mom made a promise, and when she made a promise, she kept it. So Zeta Philip lived with us for years. Eventually, he became incontinent and progressively more senile. I never realized at the time, though, how difficult it was for my young mother to keep her promise to Baba Ida. But Mom carried her burdens with such grace that it looked easy, even if it wasn't. Mom's habit of putting her own needs last and instead taking care of her family or anybody else that she wanted to help defined her. It shaped the culture of our family. We are a close family, and we know that we can all rely on each other. This is a legacy that Mom left us. She lived the values that she believed in, and she shaped our family by her example. My mom was a fighter, and she wasn't intimidated by anybody, and she was happiest when she had a campaign to fight, whether it was battling with the brick furniture chain for the right to use their own name or dealing with a difficult city inspector. She wouldn't be intimidated. Instead, she would battle through with tenacity and persevere until she got her goal. She would also fight for her kids. I experienced this for myself early on in my career at my restaurant. Susan and I had gotten ourselves into trouble with our first restaurant, Brogel's Deli. We couldn't afford to continue at our Inkster Boulevard location, and we couldn't afford to build a new location elsewhere. I remember talking to my parents about it in their den. I remember that once Mom had grasped the issue, a look of determination came to her face. She said, "You know what? We can build a restaurant in the basement of bricks." Over the space of a year, Mom visited dozens of restaurants, studying their layouts and getting ideas. She then planned out the layout of the restaurant and personally supervised the build. She went up and down the stairs at Bricks several times a day, every day, only slowing down a bit when she tripped on those stairs and broke her leg. She wanted to help out her son, and she wasn't going to let a little thing like a broken leg stop her. In later years, she would enjoy recounting and recounting the story of seeing the happiness in my eyes when on the first day open at Ira's Deli, the restaurant filled up with customers. Of course, Mom had arranged with our mailman, Harold, to let everyone on his route know about our opening. This is one of the things Mom did for me. She did everything that she could do to ensure the success and happiness of each one of her children. Nothing was more important to her than that. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Robert. I'm her third child. I'm from Edmonton. I'll share with you 3 quick stories and pass it on to Lisa, but I'll tie into what Ira talked about my mom's tenacity and her hard work. And I've been fortunate to have some success in my career. And if you look at my trajectory of where I came from and where I am, it might be not clear of how I got to that level of success, but I got there because of a brazen belief in myself and a ridiculous work ethic. And I got that because my mom had that, and she did everything, and there was no, you can't do it, someone else did it, so why can't I do it? So I had that same pompous attitude, which carries you far. If you work hard and you believe in yourself, you get anything, and that's what I learned from her. And it's not intelligence, it's hard work and a foolish belief, and you carry those 2 things, and it just carries you everywhere. So thank you, Mom, for my success. Number 2, a little more personal or a little more somber. About 2 years ago, I had an atrial flutter in my heart and went to my ventricle, and I walked into Emerge with a pulse of 248, and they were sure I was having a heart attack, and pretty much that was it that day. And they wanted to knock me out and shock me back into a normal rhythm. And I said, no. I said, let me just do it myself. And they said, you can't do it yourself. But my mom has this unbelievable ability to control her health, as was evidenced over the last 6 months and over her last 70 plus years. And so I knew I could do it. I said, no, I'm going to just do it. Give me 5 seconds. And I just I don't know how I did it, but I zen myself, and I just, all my might, I brought my pulse from 248 to 100, and they don't know how I did that, but they didn't have to shock me and knock me out, and I got better from there. So I, again, it's that tenacity, that foolish belief. I get it from her. But the final thing I'm going to share, and I'll ties into Irish thing, what I'm going to remember most about my mom is just the nachis pride for those who don't know Yiddish, the pride she took in her children and her grandchildren. And any accomplishment we did, whatever it was, whatever silly little thing we did, to her it was the greatest thing. And she just loved to hear stories about whatever we had just done and whatever we had just accomplished, and of course with our children and her grandchildren. So my greatest memory is just the pride and the nachas she took from all of our accomplishments. So thank you, Mom, for making us feel important.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm her fourth child. I had a hard time focusing on what I was going to say today, but to reiterate what all of them have said, and all of you know, is that my mom was a giver, and she was a worker, and she was strong. And when I fell on illness around age 40, my mom took me into her condominium, which I'm sure every grown child wants to live with their mother in their 40s. It's awesome. But I took it in my job now to care for her and also to torture her a little bit, rewarding her for her kind deeds by getting in her personal space constantly. She wasn't one who liked to hug or was very demonstrative, so I'd hug her a little longer than was comfortable. I'd put my head on her pillow a little closer than she liked, and would constantly dress up her clothing in manners that she didn't expect. But that was my way of showing Mom her love, and it let her guard down, and she was able to be herself around me, which I was happy I was able to do for her. One small story, and Stu mentioned it earlier, that people want to know who this person is when they leave. And I'll give you one small story. When I lived in the building, I had a dog, Leroy, and for whatever reason, a postman came into my apartment, and Leroy bit his ankle. So the postman decided to call animal control to get him put down. So I was at work, and I got a phone call saying I had to get home right away and pick up my dog. In the interim, my mom had called the biggest criminal attorney in Winnipeg to figure out what to do to save Leroy. So we were told to be on the lam. So I took my dog, and we drove around Selkirk, Lockport, what have you, until the criminal attorney was able to negotiate with animal control to, in fact, save my dog. So not only did her love extend to everyone she knew, to her kids and her grandkids, but to her grandbabies, her fur babies as well. So thank you, Mom. You will be missed dearly, and every day without you is hard, but hopefully it'll get easier in the memory of seeing everyone else grow up. I'll give it to my brother, Stuart.
Hi, I'll just do it like this. I'm Stuart, her fifth and favorite child. I'd just like to start by defending myself with Jonathan's story. I only broke the table in self-defense. Me and my mom would often share stories about my childhood or hers or just in life in general. She loved stories. She'd tell you stories all the time, against your will sometimes, and often repeat herself all the time. She would tell you stories all the time and repeat herself all the time. But there's one story we used to bug her about when I was younger. I was getting ready for camp one year. I was maybe about 9 years old, and she'd done everything for me. She'd packed all my clothes, or found all my clothes, done all the shopping, all the laundry and everything. And it was the night before I was leaving, and she was labeling all my clothes. And in her panic and rush, she mislabeled my clothes, spelling my name incorrectly, spelling it S-T-E-W, not U-A-R-T. For years, I bugged her about it. And it wasn't until later on in life, once I had my own kids, my own family, and a full-time job, that I realized what a miracle it was that she found the time to label my clothes. Didn't matter what name she put on there. She worked a full job, she came home, she made dinner, she did all the shopping, the laundry, and she still found time to do this. And so when we talk about it later on, she always felt like it was a bad parenting story, and I explained to her that it's an amazing story. You found a way, you found the time, and that's what Mom is to me. She always found a way, and no matter what was going on with any of her kids, whatever they needed, be it a lawyer for their dog or whatever, she just found a way. And she was the most amazing woman I've ever met. Tenacity, nothing ever got by her, unless my brother Ira would hit me at a family dinner. She would never see that. If I defended myself, I was ostracized right away, but she was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And there was never anything that was too big for her to take on for her kids. So she was an amazing businesswoman, an amazing person, kind-hearted, but truly an absolutely amazing mom. So thank you, Mom, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you all for sharing those memories with us. See, the truth is, during a funeral, what we are putting in the ground, what we are buried, is very evident. What is not so evident is what it stays with us. Each one of the eulogies that you provided served as a help to figure out all what's still here in this world. All the dreams, all the hard work, all the love that Cynthia Brick brought to this world are still among us. I would like to ask you all now to rise for the El Maleh Rachamim prayer. El Maleh Rachamim Shochem Bameroimim Hametze Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina V'ma'alot Kedoshim Kedoshim Uteorim Kezohar HaRaki Amazirim Et Nishemat Et Nishemat Sima Baila Bat Shmuel Vezelda She'alecha Le'olama בעבור שאנו מתפללים ועד הצקרת נשמת בגן עדן בגן עדן תהי מנוחה לכם ולרחמים, עשתי דהיה וסתר כנף לעולמים. הוא צרור בצרור החיים, החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח ושלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Cynthia Brick, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. In a few minutes, we are going to proceed in caravan fashion to the Sharizedek Cemetery, located in the corner of Armstrong and Main Street. Immediately after burial, everybody is invited to join the family for a meal of consolation that is going to take place at the home of Stuart and Cheryl at 70 Tan Oak Park Drive. Everybody's invited to participate, to partake of this meal immediately after the burial. And then everybody is also invited to visit the family during the Shiva period. That is going to be also at 70 Tan Oak Park Drive on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. And we are going to have the religious service at 7:30 p.m. at the house. Also, I would like to, on behalf of the family, to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the doctors and staff of the St. Boniface Hospital and the Health Sciences Center for all the care they provided to Cynthia during her illness. And in lieu of flowers, donations on Cynthia's memory can be made to Cancer Care Manitoba. At this point, I would like to invite the pallbearers to exit and to assume their places alongside the coffin. And also all family located in the chapel, they can exit at this point. And for the rest of us, we are going to wait until the back door is open. And when that happens, our tradition is to leave the building immediately and to form two lines outside through which the coffin will find its way into the hearse. That's going to be in a couple of minutes after the family takes their place. So maybe while that happens, I will repeat the information immediately after burial. Everybody's invited to the meal of consolation, 70 Tan Oak Park Drive, and the Shiva will be observed Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m., with the services happening at 7:30 p.m. And remember, if you are joining us to the cemetery, to turn on your four-way flashers to mark your car as part of the caravan. And I almost forgot, please remember to stop at stop signs and red lights. There are a couple of cameras in the way there, so you don't want a surprise in your mailbox. Okay, thank you all for coming. We can proceed now.